I don't have the podcast doc open today, so I'm gonna just be flying by the seat of my pants. Is that all right with you guys?
It's okay. I think most of the stuff doesn't involve a doc, but just
Yeah.
like our reactions.
Yeah.
Unless you didn't see the two trailers that we'll be talking about today on today's Packcast. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Jeremy Van Suarez.
I'm Jacob Wade.
I'm Logan Riley Bruner.
And oh my god, it's good to be back and introducing the Packcast and being in the same Zoom meeting as you guys. It warms
Oh,
my heart.
yeah.
I mean, we were in
Yeah.
the same Zoom meeting last week. We were just in a different location.
Yeah, exactly. But now we're all
Look at us.
back.
We're back on set.
Yeah. Yeah, we're back on our Packcast set, and it feels so good. Logan, do we have anything to clean around the house today?
Not particularly. We're all back in New York. We're getting to work on some things. We're again still setting up guests for the podcast. So if anybody wants guests, let us know. I've compiled the list of people, but if there's any suggestions, there's still time. There is still time to see your favorite Black Wolves on the Packcast. Other than that, not much has been happening in the world of Black Wolves. We've been keeping it quiet so that we could get some stuff prepped, and we're very excited for that. We have a bunch of conversation to be had about projects that have been worked on recently by Jacob and Jeremy. Of course, no spoilers, but I am excited to hear from you two about what that experience was like, being on set and getting to do all that fun stuff. Pretty.
You got
pretty.
one?
I
I'm so
did.
jealous. I'm so jealous.
I have to hit up the producers to see if they can send you something.
Oh.
You deserve one. Yo,
Yeah.
shouts out to the legendary PA Jacob Wade, who left a week and a half early because he had prior commitments, but made the best of his time there, yo.
I had a great time. I was there for a solid week. I put in a lot of work, and you know what? It felt so damn good to be part of a well-oiled machine.
Let's jump right into it. Talk to me about what the experience of PAing on a feature film was like.
All right, I'll go first
Yeah.
to talk about the first week. My first week there. I was only there for a week, so
And I will be unashamedly eating my yogurt.
Before you dive into it, Jacob, give a little bit of context to the people as to anyone that is unaware of what we've been working on, or maybe is watching this in the future and is like, what were Jacob and Jeremy working on all the way back then?
For sure. I think 2 weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I'll say, Jeremy and I went over to Fire Island to help our friend Ramsey, fellow Black Wolf Ramsey Heitman, helped him out with his Barefoot Kid production of Fire Island, which is a feature film coming soon. I promise. It's a look at that t-shirt.
Fire Island the movie, guys. Keep an eye out.
It's coming. It's gonna be freaky. It's gonna be fun. It's a sequel of sorts.
It's like a sequel soft reboot.
Spiritual successor
I love
Call
that
it a
term so
spiritual
much.
Successor. Yes.
to the 2019 horror film, The Last Fairy.
Correct. Let me just say, I was welcomed to the island from day one by everyone. The crew was incredibly sweet, from producers to our favorite prop designer and set dresser.
Kalisha.
Shout out Big Kel.
Big coat.
I made friends and I did some hard work. It was a great experience. I'd like to shout out the producers. I'd like to shout out everyone on the crew, including, costumes, including all the actors, our key grip, our beautiful French gaffer, our
My girl, Clem.
yeah. Shout out Clem.
Shout out Clem, yo.
Listen, I don't want to name drop too much in this podcast because we could go for an hour just dropping names. I will say that it was a incredible group effort from everyone involved. Everyone really poured their heart into this project and showed up for the work and gave it their all. And that is the kind of energy that I want to bring into every future project that I work on, period. No matter what's going on. It felt so good to have a group of committed artists working together so well. And also like our personalities, like they
blended together so well.
yeah, first off, I would like the cast was like their own like bonded group, and then the crew a little another bonded group. It was just like layers and layers of bonded groups bonding, and it felt great. It was a lot of night shoots because it's a slasher film, so we cannot shoot during the day. We needed that darkness. There was a lot of coffee. There
Oh,
was
thank you for reminding me about the coffee.
yeah, I know. I still need to excuse me. There was a lot of coffee. There was a lot of running back and forth.
At least 10,000 steps every day.
Yeah, at least 10,000 steps per day. But hey, that's show business, baby.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass it on to you, and I'll bounce off of you if you say anything else. That
Yeah. Well, I remember the first production meeting that we had, and just like it ending and me looking at you and me just being like, this is gonna be some good shit. It felt so good to be surrounded by like such positive and professional energy. It's something that I've really been missing after, a whole panty. Just being on a set with like-minded individuals coming together to make art. We got to stay on at the beautiful Belvedere guest house for men. Me and Jacob had a wondrous view of the ocean in which we would see the sunset every day, and the sky would be pink and orange and so many fucking colors.
Yeah.
It was the off season of the island, which was interesting. Fire Island's like a pretty bumping place, especially for like in the heat of the summer.
Yeah, really hot months.
Really hot months. It's like a very historically queer island, so you already know the parties be prideful. This hotel is like
It's magical. It's a magical hotel.
It's a magical place. It's like a mansion. There's so many Roman statues. There's hidden doors. Every room has a name and a theme, and they're all beautifully painted.
Mm-hmm.
It was also like one of the locations for the film, and it looked absolutely stunning. Shouts out to the cinematographer who did an incredible job everywhere he went. These shots are beautiful. He has the same name as the cameras do.
Shout out Ari shooting on an Ari.
Shout out Ari on an Ari, yo. Yeah, us PAs really pulled our weight, you know.
I'd like to shout out Susanna Scorsia for tapping it, for high-fiving for
also
me.
Black Wolves member. Woo, woo, woo.
Black Wolves Collective member Susanna, you saved my butt. You saved the butt of this whole film.
Because if this shit was all me,
no, you couldn't do it alone. You needed a second.
It's true. I did. I needed a second.
Yeah, she really blessed us. So shout out another hardworking, talented individual, Susanna. I'm really looking forward to working with her in the future.
Oh yeah, a lot of coffee runs, as Jacob said. A lot of pulling carts back and forth. A lot of cleaning up fake blood.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob didn't have. Oh no, Jacob was there for some of that.
Yeah, I was there for the shaving cream.
Oh, the shit that was so funny.
That was a long night. So we heard through the grapevine that shaving cream gets out fake blood stains on anything. So as soon as like fake blood was like done for the night, they would just pile shaving cream on top of, so that we could scrub.
And we were all stressed because it's not like you put the shaving cream and like voila, it's gone. It's like, no, it needs to settle. So we're looking at this and it's like, geez, when this homeowner comes back, it's not gonna look good.
Well, it's not going to look the same as when we got the house. Let's just say that.
Yeah. It did end up coming off though. Don't sweat. And it was a lot of cold weather too.
The weather on Fire Island is so strange because the sun at its highest point, the wind doesn't really blow. So like in the middle of the day, you'll just get pure sun and it'll feel like a really hot day. You'll take off your sweater, you'll just be in your t-shirt and your shorts and you'll feel like perfectly normal.
Cut to 20 minutes later.
Starts going down, the winds pick up and
it's an island. We're surrounded by water. There's so much wind everywhere.
It's change, dude. Twice a day. Get used to it.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
Is nuts. I had no idea what to put on every day because like to wear. because the weather would change so drastically throughout the day. It might be a May thing, but
it's a May thing because the last week was hot. Like, especially the day we left was so hot, and we were all just like, see, this is the weather that we all were thinking of when we thought about Fire Island. So note to self, wherever you go, always bring warm clothes and cold clothes, just in case.
Yeah, especially those night shoots get cold.
Yes, I'm talking
fire watch one night.
I'm talking upstairs. 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. here, guys. We had breakfast at 6 p.m.
The meal rotation system was a bit nuts. We'd call our first meal breakfast.
Yeah, but it helped out
hours
though.
Later, because of SAG rules, every 6 hours we'd have a meal break. So then we'd have our lunch halfway through our shoot day, which would be like midnight. Yeah. And then another 6 hours we'd have our dinner. But everyone is so tired by the time we have
dinner that people there were times where I definitely was like, I'm just gonna go straight to bed.
Yeah.
I don't need to eat dinner at 6 a.m. right now. I want to sleep.
I think if there were one piece of advice that I were to give to any Black Wolves member or any viewer of this podcast who is interested in filmmaking, is that throughout the shoot day, you're always on the clock. Even if you personally don't have a task at the moment, stay quiet. Keep your ears open.
Yes, ears open.
Pay attention to everything that's going on around you, because even though you may not be needed in the moment, if you're in a PA position, you may be able to offer help. Even if you're not, if it's not your job to be a production assistant, the job gives you so much time to absorb and to see.
Yeah, I was really like a sponge on that set.
Yes, it's to see how every single person on that set is moving, doing their job. You can pick up so many helpful tips, and you will learn so much about equipment or about certain roles on set or about just
the lingo.
It's the lingo or the rhythm of how a film shoot works.
Yeah, I have to say it was just one last thing. It was really interesting coming extensively from a theater background to a film set. And it wasn't only me, it was Jacob. It was our second AC. It was our third PA. It was some of the producers. So many people from Purchase, but that aside, so many people coming from the theater world to help out in like the film world. Like being on a film set is like tech week every day.
Yep.
You're always moving, you're always on the clock. There's always something that needs to be done. And it's a high stress situation. It is every day.
Yeah.
But just like Jacob was saying, just like the lessons gained from it, the experience learned from it, just like I feel different.
Mm-hmm.
Like after like being on the set for like 3 weeks, I feel more capable of like things like in the art world and outside of the art world. Like I feel like even now I'm like I should be doing something. It really puts you in a like just like a fast-paced mindset, and that was something that I've been like craving to do. Like I'm not made to be like standing behind like a cash register like for 12 hours a day. I'm meant to be like taking 10,000 steps. Yeah. And like helping out with camera and helping out with grip.
Right. Call me Timmy, I'll take what you give me.
That's great.
That's the first time I've ever heard that, Jacob.
I just want to add to what I'm hearing from you guys and just from my experience, because I didn't get to be on Fire Island, but just in hearing the things that you guys have talked about, just two things to go off what Jacob, you were saying a little bit earlier. The first is you never know when you're going to have an opportunity, which sounds so like, oh, wellness guru, you never know when you're
it literally happened on this set. We had it was supposed to be me, Jacob, and another PA, Mike Moray. I left space in case we want
friend of the collective. He's
friend of the collective, and on the first day he just happened to be at the right place at the right time, and he got promoted to second AC. It really be like that sometimes,
and you can learn a ton. And the other thing that I'm going to say, also based on what you guys have told me and based on my own experience, is ask questions. Not while you're working. Yeah, you're moving 1,000 miles a minute. People don't want to hear your silly question about what their camera does, but when you have downtime, when you're hanging out with the crew post day, when you're like everyone wants to talk about the thing they're doing. They're there because they like it. And if they see that you're showing a vested interest in the thing that they're doing, they're going to be excited to talk about it. They're going to want to share with you all the cool things that they're doing. If you saw the DP doing a really cool camera trick and you ask him about it later, I can promise you he or she or they is going to be just as excited as you to tell you how they did it.
Yeah.
Because people love filmmaking. People in the filmmaking industry love what they do, and they love being able to share it with other people, at least in my experience. I'm sure there's going to be people that you're going to meet that are going to be like, nah, that's my secret. That's my trick shot, which fine. But for the most part, people in the film industry, especially at like feature film level, are there because they're kind and people want to work with them and they love what they do. So you have so many opportunities to learn things from people that you're working alongside, and that can help you in the future. That take advantage of it. Don't sit there and be like, but I'm just the PA. I don't want to bother anybody. As long as you're not doing it while they're in the middle of doing something, you're not going to bother them. They're going to be thrilled that you're taking an interest.
I've discovered that networking is not just here's what I do and here's what I'm good at, but also displaying interest in other people's things, because then that tips them off. Oh, you noticed that my frame rate was actually 23.92 instead of 24. Well, let me answer that question. It's like little things like that when people show interest, you start realizing, oh, they are interested in that thing as well. And that can get you, that forges connections, that can get you moving through positions.
Networking is less about what you can do for me and more about what I can do for you. It's something that Jacob and I have heard a lot from Gary V, who is well known on TikTok and Instagram. He was one of the first pushers of Twitter. If you want to get successful, the best thing that you can do is offer service, offer ways that you can be helpful, offer ways that you can continue to move forward, because that's the way to show people that you're not just there as like, well, what can I get out of this? It's what can I do for you? And then later, most of the time, people will go, they did X for me. What can I do for them? You don't want to go into anything manipulating people. You don't want to be like, I'm going to be nice because I think I'm going to get something out of this. But your best place to start is seeing what you can do for somebody else and how you can be of service, because then people are going to see that you want to be there and that you want to help.
Yeah, I was always asking, like, do you need help with something? Can I help you with something? It's being there, being like actively listening all the time. And like, yes, like you're going to be tired. Yes, your feet are going to hurt from standing and walking all day. Like, yes, you're probably going to get fed up with someone on the crew or cast at some point, but that's show business. There's no bad feelings. We're all up at 4 a.m. together here. Okay.
Yeah. And there's such a difference between like, this person is annoying me today, but I'm going to continue to do my job and it's going to be fine because it's a 12-hour night shoot. And of course we're all tired. And this person is annoying me today, so I'm going to have an attitude and I'm going to back talk them and I'm going to do X and do Y. That is the fastest way to get people to not want to work with you.
Yes.
Everyone is going to have a moment where they're in a bad mood. They're going to have a moment that they might snap at you. I get it. It's so frustrating and it sucks. But the fastest way to like fix a situation like that is to de-escalate it and just like get back to doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm. And it's like we had a couple moments like that on the film set, but everyone on this film set was a mature adult. There was never any hard feelings left on the table. If something was tipped off that maybe someone took a certain statement a certain way, it was always like, hey, listen, I'm sorry, Are we okay? Awesome, let's move on. Because at the end of the day, we're all talented people just trying to come together to make some awesome art.
Yeah, no ego. Zero ego. That is the best policy. Show up knowing that you are just a cog in this brilliant, beautiful machine and do your job.
Yeah.
It sounds so like hippy dippy, whatever, but like you're a part of something.
We're all in this together, guys.
Thank you, Jeremy. Moving from films that we worked on to films we're excited to see, Jeremy, I know you had 2 trailers that you wanted to talk about this week.
Yes. We'll go in chronological order. A few days ago, the trailer for it, Dear Evan Hansen, the movie, came out, starring Ben Platt, reprising his role from the Broadway musical in the film. Twitter had a bit of a field day because Ben Platt is 27 and looked like a high schooler. I will agree with that sentiment that he looked a little out of place, but I mean, if you know Dear Evan Hansen, like you already know what's gonna happen. Like I haven't personally like seen Dear Evan Hansen or listened to the soundtrack. I've listened to a good chunk of it. Yeah. But I already know that this shit is gonna break many hearts.
It's a heartbreaking tale. I disagree with a lot of Twitter's criticisms of Ben Platt. I think that Ben Platt originated this role, and when I listen to Dear Evan Hansen's soundtrack and I hear his voice, I feel the feels so deeply, and I don't blame Hollywood for wanting to stay as true to those emotions that his voice and like him himself can evoke from such an audience. Personally, I've seen videos of other Evans, and they're equally as talented, but I don't know. I'm super excited to see this film, and I would just like to say that it's not a wig, guys. That's
Is
Ben
it
Platt.
not a wig?
Not a wig. It's Ben Platt's hair. So we can chill on the jokes, okay? He was growing it out for the movie. They kept it. It was a choice. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Logan, what do you want to say about Dear Evan Hansen?
First things first, I want to say that the entire cast I think is really, really cool. Specifically, I want to shout out Nick Dodani, who's an incredibly talented actor. I've gotten to work with him just like a touch on the Netflix film Alex Strangelove. He's super kind. He's super deserving of this part. So I'm very, very happy for him. I want to just put that out into the universe first off.
Yay.
Second, in terms of Ben Platt being too old, Hollywood has been doing this 30-year-olds playing high schoolers for years. And now I think it's the first time that people are starting to have issue with it. So I think we're going to start seeing a little more turnaround in terms of that now. That
Right.
like this is kind of the last wave of high schoolers being played by 29-year-olds because like people are starting to be like, wait, those aren't actual high schoolers because now I'm seeing high schoolers on TV. We used to back in like the 90s, early 2000s, see shows like 90210 and stuff like that where 30-year-olds were playing high schoolers.
I mean, even think about like Grease. Like that's what comes to mind.
I would like to say of this on this topic, when we were growing up, like maybe in our teenage years, we were like, I can't wait till I'm in my 20s so I can actually play a teenager, you know?
Yeah.
Now we're in our 20s and they're casting more like teenagers to play teenagers now. Like the wave is like dying out of like the 20-30-year-olds playing teenagers. Except for this film, but it's not just this film. I mean,
there's tons
Hollywood
of
is still doing it.
It's easier to work with people over 18 in Hollywood. In anything, there's child labor laws.
Exactly, they
You
can't work as long.
Yeah, you need to be able to shoot more hours.
If you're gonna be shooting something that's like about teenagers, and they're gonna be on set for long hours, and so you're gonna need an adult.
I also want to say it's a lot easier to look younger on stage than it is on screen. There's a difference between a 25-year-old or a 27-year-old playing a 16-year-old on stage where you have like 500 feet between you and the person performing, and when a camera is right in your face. There is that aspect of it. I also want to point out, and I might be in the minority here, not everything needs to be turned into a movie. Dear Evan Hansen, I think, works as a Broadway show, but I think when you put it on screen, just baseline plot of a guy pretends to be friends with someone who killed themselves is immediately a turnoff. It's immediately a thing that people are like, that's what this movie is about?
And that's why I personally don't feel excited for this movie, you know? Because it's like, I know the plot and I'm like,
Okay, I understand where you're coming from now because you don't exactly see a plot for like a trailer for a musical that you're about to see, right? So when you're sitting in that theater and like the twist happens while you're in the audience, you're like, oh, that's what this musical's about. I listened to the soundtrack and now it makes sense.
Mhm.
But like going into the movies, yeah, you see the trailer and you're like, do I want to see
I'm like,
that?
yeah. I'm
About
like,
the white kid who pretends that he was friends with the
the trailer immediately starts and it's like melancholy chord, melancholy chord, melancholy chord, and you're like, oh no.
Well, that's the musical.
I know it's the musical, but I was just like, it's a different effect when it's like a film trailer, I feel.
There's a lot of nuance, I think, in the show that doesn't make Evan's actions acceptable, but does make some of them a little more understandable. That when you put them in trailer form where it's supposed to be like, let's just hook the audience and grab on, it makes the show appear to be this guy is being friends with a person who committed suicide in order to get close to his sister and date his sister. And that looks really uncomfortable. And that's not really what, like, there are aspects of that in the musical, but that's not like his point in the musical. It's not like I'm going to make this lie and I'm doing that in order to achieve this goal. There's a lot more that happens that you can't really like show in a trailer without being like, let's give everything away. So,
and I still feel like the trailer gave away too much.
Yeah,
to be honest. It was a pretty long trailer.
But
also,
also,
yeah, I guess the show's been out for like a couple years already, but like you still gotta leave room for some like, ooh, you know.
But also, I feel like the company is expecting that the audiences are coming to see this movie because they love the musical so much. So like they're really capitalizing on the fact that this has already brought in so much money to the Broadway community that now like Hollywood can take all that money too in like because everyone's gonna want to see the film version of the most popular musical on Broadway. But it's just that kind of cycle is getting old. I think we talked about it in our first podcast.
We talked about it with Prom.
Yeah, and see that's the interesting thing because people look at the casting of Prom and we're like, well, you should have cast some of the original Broadway actors. And now here we are with Dear Evan Hansen, and that like we're no one's talking about that aspect, right? Like everyone's like, Ben Platt looks too old. But just like Jacob said, he originated the role. So it also feels really good to like see the person who originated the role get their due in the film as well.
I totally agree with that.
Immortalizing that performance visually. Like we've got the audio, but it's like, you know.
I think the major difference between Prom and Dear Evan Hansen is Prom's movie like was made right after the show ended. So there was that aspect of like these people just finished the show. Ben Platt's been out of that role for like 2-3 years.
I do believe he went to film it pretty soon after he ended his run though. Like I think it was like a year. Yeah.
Interesting. Just because I know there have been like 6 or 7 Evans since him.
Yeah, including his boyfriend, Noah Galvin. Shout out Noah Galvin.
PPAS alumni. And the actor Jordan Fisher, who I heard was really, really great in the role.
Yeah.
Yes.
For real. I think it's nice that Ben Platt has this like full circle moment.
Yeah.
Good for him.
It is nice.
I'm not going to bash on him for playing the part.
No.
He's an actor who got offered a role that he loves and deserved to take it.
Yeah. We don't like bashing on anyone on this podcast.
Yeah, I want to make that the final point on the Dear Evan Hansen trailer. Whether you like how Ben Platt looks or not, whether you like how the movie looks or not, let's refrain from personal attacks against people, because at the end of the day, like as much as you might think that Ben Platt is a celebrity or whatever, he's still a 27-year-old human being, and to exclusively post for days and days and days about how much you hate him and think that he shouldn't play this part and that he doesn't look like a high schooler, it's not okay.
It's not cool.
Yeah.
And if you're just doing it to jump on the Twitter bandwagon, that's not cool either, guys.
Let's cool it, guys.
Let's keep things cool. Let's keep
things chill.
Okay.
I mean, if we want to talk about things that are cool, just today, I really hope you guys saw it. The trailer for Marvel's The Eternals came out. Man, you guys didn't watch the trailer? We should watch it right now. Watch it right now. Let's do a live react.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do a live react. I'm gonna pause the recording and then immediately after I'll start it again.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it too because it's good. Woo! Eternals.
It looks good. It looks really good. It looks beautiful.
It looks really well shot. And of course it does, because it's the director of Nomadland.
Chloe Zhao. We got Oscar-winning directors making Marvel movies, baby. Oh, and it looks so good.
Can I just say everyone looks beautiful?
I know.
Everyone looks beautiful.
I'm like constantly enamored by Angelina Jolie.
Not. I mean, she's a classic.
In case you guys don't know, Marvel's The Eternals is about a race of immortal beings called the Eternals with superhuman powers who have secretly lived on Earth for thousands of years who reunite to battle the evil deviants. That's all we have in terms of plot summaries so far, but it has an all-star cast with Angelina Jolie, Selma Hayek, Kit Harington.
Yes.
Oh, this wasn't in the trailer, but she's listed. Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
Richard Madden, who played Robb Stark in Game of Thrones.
Mel Nanjiani.
Gemma Chan, Barry Keoghan, Brian Tyree Henry.
Looks like he's doing so great.
Who, Brian?
Yes, I was not a fan of him or Millie Bobby Brown's scenes in Godzilla versus Kong. Just the scenes. I like them as people. I like them.
Oh my god, I forgot they were in that movie.
You like completely remembered.
Yeah, both of them were in Godzilla v Kong. Didn't like their characters, didn't like their scenes, but this looks fire.
It looks great. Yes. It looks really exciting. It looks action-packed, but it looks like it has a lot of heart. It looks like it's going to lead really nicely through phase 4, so it feels like we're keeping things all on the train.
I like almost don't get Marvel vibes from this. It wasn't for the fact that they directly mention Avengers characters that we know already and the Marvel Studios logo. Like, this could be any sci-fi movie. It looks so removed from like the Marvel story that we know right now, but of course it's going to connect, you know. It's coming out this year. It's coming out this November.
Phase 4 is a fresh start. We're getting new characters and new stories. I'm so excited for it. It gives me kind of Doctor Strange meets the Old Guard vibes. So like I'm very down for this.
I'm feeling some Wakanda vibes from the weaponry and the tech of it all.
Yeah.
It feels cool.
Yeah, I think it's, and I also think it's interesting that the plot of this movie is about a group of heroes who have been secretly living on Earth for thousands of years when we've been introduced to the Skrulls, who are beings that can shapeshift and look like they're just any other person in the street, and they live in like secrecy. So I think Eternals and Skrulls are gonna play a very big part in the Marvel universe to come.
I'm also very interested in how they're going to explain these beings who have supposedly been on Earth for thousands of years, ignoring the attack on New York and the Ultron attack and the Thanos attack. Because it's like, okay, how are we going to get around the fact that these people were here and didn't intervene? It's a problem that I don't necessarily think Wonder Woman 1984 solved in a very good way. So I am fascinated to see how this particular movie handles that problem. Wonder Woman 84, of course, being in a different universe, but dealing with the problem of like, how do you explain that this person has been around for this long?
I mean, we have a direct kind of comparison to that in the Marvel universe with Captain Marvel, that they're like, where have you been? The attack on New York. And she's like, well, at least Earth has the Avengers. Not every other planet has that sort of thing.
I've been out doing other things. And that was a great explanation. So I'm hoping that we get something equally as good for the Eternals. But I'm very excited about that. I don't feel like there's a ton to talk about the Eternals. There's not really a controversy. It just looks cool.
Yeah. Listen, I'm an Angelina Jolie stan. And if she's going to be in the Marvel universe, then let's go, baby.
Speaking of standing, Jeremy, is there anything that you're standing in the content that you've been consuming this week? Oh, come on. That was a good one.
All right.
That was a good one. Come on.
Okay. All right. Anyways, what I've been standing is I've been playing a lot. I just got into this game called Elite Dangerous, which is like a space exploration simulator. The map is supposedly like a 1-to-1 recreation of the Milky Way galaxy, which is very scary, but at least you have light speed travel, so that's fine. So I've been really into that. It's been space games for me. I also got back into No Man's Sky, which is similar to Elite Dangerous, except you can like get out of your ship. I haven't really been watching anything lately. I haven't really been listening to anything in particular. I was like, when I mean, I've been working on a film set, and
you've been busy.
Exactly. And when I got off of my film set, I was like, God, I miss my PlayStation. The other game that I've been playing, which I spoke about in my Black Holes recommendations, was Katana Zero on the Switch, which is like a 2D side-scrolling like ninja game, kind of similar to like Hotline Miami and like Dark Souls. It's a game where it's like one hit and like they die or you die, and it plays with time in an interesting way. It has a really awesome story, and apparently they're gonna wrap it up in like DLC, free DLC that's supposedly bigger than the base game itself. Katana Zero has like flair and style and blood and gore, and I highly recommend it.
Nice.
Very nice.
Mr. Wade?
I have been watching Invincible with you, Logan.
Woo!
Such a good show.
J.K. Simmons, take me away.
And Stephen Yeun, what a heartwarming voice that guy's got. I've been enjoying that show. I started Good Omens, which
nice, good
funny.
pick.
It's funny.
Have
Such
you-
British humor.
Have you gotten to see the web series that David Tennant and Michael Sheen put together?
No.
They did an entire web series during COVID called, I think it's like Staged or Restaged. It's about the two of them like basically playing themselves, and they've gotten cast in this West End production that's not shutting down. They're trying to continue rehearsals through COVID, and like Judi Dench shows up, and like the director is like
so
a crazy
fun.
person. If you've ever seen a video on TikTok of the two of them like doing a Zoom call side by side, it's them like making these wild jokes. They have one segment where they're like arguing about who's more famous. It's just so funny. It's so good. Also check that out. But yes, Good Omens is a great show.
Yeah, it's a great. Have you seen all of it?
No,
So
I
far?
haven't. I need to keep going.
Yeah. I only saw the first episode so far, and
Excellent.
I'm loving it. It's fun. That's pretty much what I've been consuming. I'm all caught up on the podcast I've been listening to. This is important. So fun. Love having those guys in my ear holes.
Quick side, Jacob, did you watch the Monaco Grand Prix?
I did watch the Monaco Grand Prix.
I haven't. I need to turn it on after we get off the podcast.
You do. I'm not
Okay,
going to spoil anything, but it was quite the unexpected.
I was so. Anyways, we can talk about it later.
Don't say a thing. Don't say.
I'm not gonna say a thing. Logan, what have you been watching?
I've been watching Invincible with Jacob, which is a fantastic show. I highly recommend to everybody. It's got a all-star cast.
Yeah.
To update you guys on my Binding of Isaac journey, I have finished ending 15, which is Killed the Lamb. He's the second to last boss in the base game, and I am on my Mega Satan run. So I've gotten all the pieces that I need to get to the final boss fight. Now I just need to get to that boss fight in this run. If I don't, you will see me come back here next week and cry. In addition to that, with the announcement that is officially coming to an end with this arc, I am continuing through Critical Role Campaign 2. I am on episode 64. They are on episode 152. And they are coming to an end with campaign 2. I'm very, very happy for them. I'm excited to see what they do with campaign 3. They're also working on a animated TV series that they raise money through Kickstarter. For those that don't know, Critical Role is the most funded Kickstarter on film and animation at I think $11.5 million in 2 months they raised. It was insane, but their community really came together to create something magic. And so that was super, super cool. In addition to that, I have re-downloaded a couple games. I got Persona 5 Royale. I got Batman Arkham Asylum for that like classic beat 'em up style. Got BioShock Infinite, which I'm super excited about.
Classic.
And then Final Fantasy VII Remake I downloaded last night. Still playing Apex Legends, still watching Criminal Minds, which is a really great show. I almost wish that like I had somebody to watch Criminal Minds with, because I have so many thoughts on that show, but I don't feel like I can like go to Twitter and check out what people are saying because it's such an old show.
You should have a texting buddy. Someone.
I really should. I also watched the movie The Woman in the Window.
Amy Adams is in it.
Yes, she is.
She is the woman
And
in
Fred
the window.
Hetchinger, who is a buddy of mine, we did Alex Strangelove and Voxlux together. He's a really, really kind human, and he's a really, really great actor. And him in this role is just fire. He crushes it. So shout out to him. I'm so, so proud of him, especially for this movie. This movie was really, really good. I think a lot of people should see it. If you have seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we have a reunion of the Falcon and the new Captain America. They are both in this movie. So check it out. check it out.
That face was for new Captain America because he is hashtag not my Captain America.
Sometimes you gotta move on, Jeremy. Sometimes you gotta move on.
No, I don't have to. No.
Also, for all of my intrepid dungeon masters, I've been listening to the podcast Adventuring Academy, which is hosted by Brendan Lee Mulligan. Really great podcast. I very much enjoy it. I think it is a great tool for anybody who wants to play D&D or wants to get into D&D, and kind of like tips and tricks on how to make your games better and more inclusive and more interesting. I think that's it for what I've been consuming this week. I don't think I've watched any other movies. Yeah,
we should all watch like one of the new movies that came out in the past couple weeks and like talk about it.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to do the here are the movies coming out this week, so we'll do that next week for our big send off for Jeremy, as next week is his last episode for the next 2 months.
That's okay. We could save your tears for the next episode.
Yes.
Thank you all for watching. Until then, exactly. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you smash that like button and leave a comment below on things you want to hear us talk about or want us to watch and talk about. Once again, thank you so much. I'm Jeremy Van Suarez.
I'm Jacob Wade.
And I am Logan Riley Bruner.
And go drink some water.
Hydrate yourself.